The eCom Seller Summit was created to prove that with the right tools and training, anyone and everyone can make money in e-commerce. So many people want to try their hand at e-commerce, selling on eBay, Amazon, Shopify, and more, but they're afraid they won't be successful. This summit will show you that there's many ways to do e-commerce, and there are many platforms you can explore, because e-commerce really has no limits. It really can pay your bills, and e-commerce never sleeps. There's nothing like waking up to profits from getting sales all night long. My name is Nicole Whitlock, and this is the eCom Seller Summit. Before we get started, please be sure to take notes. Today's eCom Seller Summit speaker is Chad Thibodeaux. Chad is a highly sought after business coach and launch strategist and motivational speaker. He travels the world helping entrepreneurs launch their businesses using the GIVE method and his 7-day quick start launch system. He is a ClickFunnels Top 6 designer, a ClickFunnels international speaker, and he is the founder of the CF Design Academy, where he coaches over 1,600 entrepreneurs in 49 countries and 6 continents to help build marketing funnels for single moms and nonprofit organizations. To date, his Design Academy has helped 44 nonprofits, 12 single moms, and they have raised over $700,000 for those endeavors. Chad, I want to thank you so much for everything that you do. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and sharing your knowledge with us today.
All right, buddy, I'm Chad Thibodeaux, and in just a minute, I'm going to sneak over there to my desk and teach you guys the GIVE method, how to give all your stuff away and get paid for it. And I really believe this information is going to be transformative for you. So be sure to grab a pencil and a piece of paper and take incredible notes today. Hey, I also want to take just a second to thank Nicole Whitlock for the invitation to be a part of this incredible event. You know, there are so many marvelous speakers who are helping us take our business to the next level, and to be included in this lineup is just an honor and a privilege. So Nicole, thank you so much for being for allowing me to be a part of this. So hey guys, grab your pencil and piece of paper. It's time for the GIVE method. So let's get started. Hey everybody, how are you? Chad Thibodeaux. Thank you so much for being a part of this summit or this training. Wherever you're watching around the world, I want to take some time just to say thank you for watching, and I want to thank our host for giving me the platform today to speak to you. I want to talk with you today about an idea that's a little unique and proprietary to me, and I want to be able to share this with you in a way that I hope that hopefully just makes sense and radically transforms your world. Now, you may be wondering who I am. So I'm Chad Thibodeaux. I'm a business coach and launch strategist, and I'm on a mission to change the marketing world by leveraging the power of generosity to help entrepreneurs just like you create their mission, bless others, and profit immensely. And we do that through the art of generosity. So before we get to generosity today, what I want to do is I want to see if I can paint a little picture in your mind and tell you why I'm the guy that I should be speaking to you today. You're like, who in the world is Chad Thibodeaux, right? Well, I'm a ClickFunnels Top 30 designer. I've been pretty blessed to have built a lot of funnels. Russell Brunson gave me that title of being a top 30 designer. They have hired me multiple times to help on different projects, whether it be Russell Brunson's book or whether it be the new Mother Funnel rollout or whatever. And I'm also blessed to travel the world with ClickFunnels. They hire me to travel the world, me along with several other people, to travel the world representing them and speaking to the masses. But there's nothing that I do that gets me more fired up than teaching people about generosity and about a word that that I just believe just can really transform your life, and it's the word give. We're going to talk to you about that word give in just a minute. But it wasn't too long ago when I was completely broke. I'm talking August 11th, 2017, I found myself in despair. And I'm wondering if many of you guys can relate. And this is not a homeless to rich story, but what I did find was I found myself having gone through a massive life transition. I went through a divorce. I was in the ministry for 19 years as a pastor. And after the divorce, I went through a massive transition, and I got into the marketing world. I learned how to build funnels. And even though I learned how to build funnels, I found myself completely broke. And on August 11th, 2018, that was a crazy day because my house was getting foreclosed upon, which that's a whole long story in and of itself. But the heartbreaking thing to me was that evening of August 11th, I took my daughter skating. It was a back-to-school skate party. My little 6-year-old daughter was looking forward to this moment for years and years. And even though I only had $11 in my pocket, literally $11 in my pocket, I was negative in my bank account. My house was being foreclosed upon. Seemed like the entire world was falling down. That night, I was absolutely convinced that I was going to give my daughter just the night of her life. And so her back-to-school skating party was the ideal platform to make this happen. So armed with the $11 in my pocket, I grab my little 6-year-old girl by the hand and we go marching into that skating rink with confidence. And when we get there, we come to the ticket window and the lady looks at us and says, "It'll be $10.16, please." I'm like, $10.16? I mean, I've only got $11 in my pocket. Like, what are you talking about? The flyer said it was just, it was just $5. And she goes, "Yes, it's $5 for you, $5 for her, plus tax. It's $10.16, please." And I remember having this sense of frustration come over me. Because here I was, a guy in my early 40s. I had been pretty successful most of my life, and here I was having to argue with a 16-year-old girl in a mini skirt and a referee shirt and roller skates. I'm having to argue with her, trying to sweet talk my way into this building because I didn't want to lose all my money. So I did. I mean, I got a master's degree, communications degree, and so I used every ounce of ability that I had, and I got into that building, and my daughter and I, we were going to have a great time. And my daughter, 6-year-old daughter, looks at this little girl, and she's got one of those glow-in-the-dark bracelets on, or necklaces on. She goes, "Daddy, can I have one of those?" I said, "Absolutely, baby, you can have one of those. How much are they?" And I knew it wasn't going to be much. She said, "Oh, they're $3. I said, "Sure, baby." So I pulled out $3 and gave it to her, and I still have $3 left. And my 6-year-old gets her skates on, glow-in-the-dark necklace, and she goes out in that skating rink and she begins to skate. And she does what most of us do. If you've never skated before, you take one little step on that rink, and she fell flat on her face, and she began crying because she was frustrated. She couldn't skate. And Daddy reached over there and picked her up and held her in my arms. And she looked over, and there was a little girl with one of those white walkers. And she knew that, okay, this was going to make skating a lot more fun. She goes, "Daddy, can I have one of those?" I said, "Well, baby, go find out how much they were." And she walks over and she finds out that those walkers are $5, but I don't have $5. And I remember standing on that skating rink, looking down at my daughter with big, gigantic tears flowing down my face. And I had to look at my 6-year-old, and I had to admit that Daddy was a failure. I had to admit that I'd blown it. And I knew at that particular moment that everything had to change for me. Like something was going to need to shift in my life. And I remember going back and having this crisis of faith, and whether you're religious or not, it doesn't matter. But there is a scripture that I just sort of held true to, and it was one that I'm going to share with you a little bit later. But I remember just talking the scripture, and I was like, "Okay, Chad, if you have any ounce of faith in you, you're going to have to step out by faith, and you're going to have to do this." And I'm going to tell you what this is in just a minute, so hang in there for me, okay? So I remember that. But I want to take it off of the emotional story just for a second. I want to take it off the biblical principle just for a second, and I want to put it back into the practical world of marketing at funnels just for a moment. You see, because what I knew at that particular moment when I was at the skating rink, if everything was going to shift in my life, if I was going to make a difference in the marketing world, if I was going to make a difference in my life, if I was going to get a consistent flow of income coming into my life, I was going to have to do something different, because I was doing what all the gurus told me to do. I read all the books, I created all the funnels, and I did everything the gurus told me to do, and it just wasn't working for me. I was making a little bit of money, but I wasn't making enough money, but more importantly, I wasn't making the impact that I wanted to make. And so I knew something was going to have to shift. So I want to give you three pictures, okay? The first picture I want to give you is, I want you to think of like the Arctic snow, okay? Freezing cold. Like think of polar bears. How many of you feel like when you run Facebook ads or you're getting ready to launch your product, that's basically that's where it's going. It's going to the Arctic. Like it's so cold, the audience and the traffic is so cold that you're getting zero traction whatsoever. There's very few people looking at your stuff, and the people that look at your stuff, you are like being competed with massively. Everybody and their brother is going after the same exact people, right? And so that's what happens when you try to just start from nothing without any following, and you go to the Facebook world, you go to cold traffic. It's like putting your stuff out in the Arctic. It's going to freeze to death. It's ice cold, and chances are you're not going to get any leverage. But what we do is we see these people, these rare claims of people that say, oh, I made $1 million to cold traffic. Okay, yes, there are people that do that, but I want you to know that that is the exception to the rule. That is not the norm. Most people who just take their stuff and put it out there to cold traffic, to that cold Facebook world, it's literally like taking your stuff and putting it in the Arctic. It is frigid cold. Then you have the other side. You have those people that say build a hot audience, right? And so you go and you build yourself a hot little market, and it may be small. You may have 20, 30 people, and boy, they just love you like crazy. And you put your offer to them, and boy, they just buy it and consume it. The problem is it's small. And like kindling with a fire. So I want you to think about fire now. Okay, remember what happens if you have kindling? Okay, you light that kindling, boy, it goes up in flames quickly. But what happens is as the kindling burns out incredibly fast. And that's how so many of your offers are. So many of your offers are, you put it out there to your hot audience, and they bought it, but there's not enough people, so your launch did not sustain. And so you got a problem. Because some of you are trying to go to cold audiences, and it's like, fishing in the Arctic. Some of you guys go to your really, really hot audience, but, after a while, it just goes away. There's got to be something different. So the third picture that I want to put in your mind is the picture of a pond. Picture of a pond. I love my kids. I'm a single daddy, and I have the privilege of taking them literally, all around the United States, and before too long, all around the world. And maybe one more year as they get a little bit older. But we're fun, we're fun people. Like, we like to do roller coasters, and, we like to do water parks, and we like to hang out at the ocean. We love to do that. But we're not real outdoorsy people. Like, we're not camping people and stuff like that. And because of that, my kids have never fished before, okay? My kids have never seen snow, and my kids have never fished before. And I was taking them back from a cabin up in the mountains, and we were driving back, and I saw all these signs on the side of the road about fishing, catch your first fish, catch a fish guaranteed, whatever. And so I'm like, oh man, this is great. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to bring my kids fishing. Okay, so I'm super excited about fishing, and I can't wait to fish with my son and with my daughter. I'm going to teach them how to cast, because I did that as a kid, and I'm super excited. So we pull into this little place where they were advertising this fishing. We go up to the counter, and it was like $28 per person. Okay, there's 4 of us. It's not a bad deal. You do the math on that, and a little bit more than $100. We're going to have a fishing expedition. I'm super excited. And all the signs said, no gear, we provide the gear, we provide the bait, we do everything, and you're guaranteed to catch a fish. So I knew that we weren't going to be disappointed, because if we were, we at least get our money back, and I'd take them to go eat fish. If we didn't catch a fish, it was going to be great. And so we go up to the counter, we pay the money, $28 per person, and the guy hands us 4 little Ziploc sandwich baggies. I'm like, what is this? He goes, well, that's your gear. And you open up this little Ziploc baggie. Have you guys ever seen this? And there was a wine cork. And around the wine cork was about 5 or 6 feet of fishing line. At the end of the fishing line was a fishing hook. And on that hook was a dead, dried up, dehydrated worm. And I'm like, well, what are we supposed to do with this? The guy goes, when you go to the pond, just put it in there and watch what happens. So we grab this, we grab our 4 little Ziploc baggies. I take my 3 little kids. We go around, we go to the back of the cabin, and there is the pond. And it's not very big. It's only like 20 by 20, this pond. But when you look, holy freaking smoke, there was fish everywhere. I'm talking about there was not a stinking shred of water that didn't have fish in it. I mean, this little 10 by 10 or 20 by 20 pond must have had 1,500 fish in it. It had so many fish. They were like on top of each other. And so my kids, they take the little thing, and my son accidentally let the little hook fall in the water, and as soon as he hit the water, boom, a fish was on it. And he pulled it out, and he caught his. And literally, guys, this entire fishing endeavor lasted a grand total of 28 seconds. Literally. We were so frustrated. Yes, we caught fish, but we were so frustrated because we missed out on the experience. We wanted to cast, and I wanted to hang out with my kids. I wanted to teach them how to look for the bobber and watch the bobber go under, and I wanted to teach them how to hook that fish and reel it in, and we didn't get any of that. It was a terrible experience. And that kind of fishing is awful when you're trying to do a family outing, but that is exactly what you are trying to do when it comes to marketing. What I want to talk with you about is building a pond, a marketing pond, a proverbial pond, your pond that you own. And you stock that full of fish that know you and like you and trust you and follow you. That when you have an offer, you can just simply put a little bit of bait into that pond of people who love you so much that you can literally just reach in and pull out a sale. I mean, doesn't that sound like a much better way to do it than, spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on Facebook ads to cold traffic, sort of like fishing in the Arctic? I mean, isn't that terrible? Isn't that even a better idea than hitting up your same 12 to 15 people over and over and over again? And yeah, they may buy, but boy, that dwindles out quickly. Isn't the idea of having your own pond stocked full of your perfect audience, your perfect clients, and you build relationships with them and they follow you as their leader. And then anytime you come up with something and you pitch it to them, boy, there's just dozens, if not hundreds of people standing in line waiting to buy. Doesn't that sound like a great idea? How many of you want to learn how to do that? Well, that's what I want to teach you today. And I want to teach you that by telling you this one word, and that word is give. Everybody say give. I'm talking as loud as you can. I don't care where you are, whether you're watching this in your office or in your house or at some kind of library or maybe in a co-working space. I want you to just say this word nice and loud with me. Everybody say it together. Give. Give is a powerful word. And this word give is what is going to help you take your idea, your business, your product, and your launch and create your own little pond full of tons and tons of people that are ultimately going to purchase with you. It's through the concept of give. Now, where did I get this from? Well, let's rewind the tape and let's go all the way back to the story that I told you at the beginning of our talk. Remember when I told you that when I was sitting there with tears rolling down my face looking at my little girl, that something had to change? And I remembered later on that night, I remembered a verse that just kept going through my head. And it was a verse in the book of Luke that says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." And we used to teach that all the time in church, that if you just give, that you would get blessings like crazy. And I remember just thinking that, okay, God, I'm just gonna do something really crazy, and I just need you to bless it. And what was I going to do as I was going to figure out how to give? Now, let me tell you what this means, okay? This passage of Scripture, it was a parable, and whether you're religious or not, it doesn't matter. This is context for you. What happened was, in the first century when this parable was told, farmers would go out and they would plant their crop, okay? And I was just in Israel and I got to see where they did all this at. And they would plant this crop, okay? And then in the fall, when it was time to harvest it, they didn't have the manpower to actually harvest the crop, and they didn't have the money to actually pay people to harvest it. So what they did was they would go into town and they would recruit people to come and harvest their field, and instead of paying them in money, they would pay them in product, okay? They'd pay them in product, almost like a little barter system. And so what would happen is they would just have to take these baskets, go out to the field, they would cut the hay or wheat or corn or whatever it was that they were harvesting. They would cut it, they'd put it in baskets, and they'd walk it to the other side of the field, they would dump it, and they'd make this huge harvest pile. And so what would happen is basically when they're getting paid by the hour, they just put a little bit of harvest in that basket, and they'd walk it over and they would dump it. But at the end of the day, the very last bucket that they filled out, they got to take home with them. And they got to sell or eat or whatever they wanted to do with it. And you know what they did with that bucket? Yeah, they filled that bucket like I fill up my Slurpee at 7-Eleven. You guys ever been to 7-Eleven and got one of those Slurpees, you put the cup under and you turn it on. My favorite is I like the Coca-Cola and cherry. I like to mix those two. You fill it up, okay, and it comes all the way up to the top, and then what do? You take this and you just bang the cup on the ground, and all the air goes out, and you get like 3 more inches, and you put some more in it, okay, and then I love taking that dome lid, and you put the dome lid on top of it, and you fill it up a little bit more, and it just oozes out, and you take a little bit, and when nobody's looking, you take the lid off, and you drink some more. You put the lid back on, and you fill it up, right? Okay, that's the picture that's being given, is like when you give, this is what's going to happen to you, okay? Things are going to come back to you. You're going to be blessed in such a manner that it's going to be pressed down, shaken together so all the air goes out, and it's going to be running over, okay? And so these people getting paid with this harvest, that's what they would do when they were taking that home with them. And so the mental image picture that I want to give you is that this is what's going to happen to your business when you learn how to be generous. So what I want to do is I want to talk to you about the give method. Now, what is the give method? The give method is the art of giving all your stuff away and getting paid handsomely for it. That's right. How many of you know it's easier to give something away than to sell it? You guys know that? That's a lot easier? Well, that's what the give method is. The give method I'm going to share with you today is the art of giving all your stuff away and getting paid handsomely for it. Now, does this work? Well, I'm going to give you 7 steps of the give method in just a minute, but let me tell you what happened to me, okay? So remember August 11, 2018, I'm completely broke, house was getting foreclosed upon. Well, something happened that shifted in my life where I went from broke to making over $250,000 in just simply 90 days. What happened? Well, the give method is what happened, okay? The give method is what happened. They give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. What I learned was that generosity or giving, okay, is what breaks the, how can I say this? Generosity breaks the mindset of scarcity and provides supply, okay? Generosity breaks the mindset of scarcity and provides supply. See, what happened to me is for so long, I was living in the mindset of scarcity. So many of you guys are living in the mindset of scarcity. And you're trying to figure out, like, how can I get out of the mindset of scarcity? So a lot of people tell you to just go buy. Like, buy my product and buy this and buy that. And if you just buy, stop. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, okay? If you buy into the ancient scriptures, it's not buying that breaks the mindset of scarcity. It's giving. It's generosity. Generosity is what breaks the mindset of scarcity and ultimately provides supply. So in my life, I decided that I was going to begin being incredibly generous. So now what did I have? I was a ClickFunnels top 30 designer, according to Russell Brunson. So I knew that I knew how to do funnels. I was a relatively decent coach. Okay, I could teach people how to build and launch their businesses. But what I didn't have was I didn't have an audience. Zero. Okay, zero audience. I'm like, how in the world am I going to build an audience that I can basically leverage to be able to help tons of people and to make lots of money? So we were building funnels for Russell Brunson, and Steve Larson sent a group text out, said, hey guys, Russell needs about 10 more funnels built. Can you help? And so I went into the ClickFunnels room and said, hey guys, I'm Chad Thibodeaux, ClickFunnels top 30 designer, and I've got to build 10 more templates for ClickFunnels. But I hate building templates, just trying to make them up. So if you're a single mom or nonprofit, I would like to build a funnel for you absolutely free. The only thing I ask is once I build it, I got to be able to give that funnel to Russell Brunson to be able to use it in his cookbook. Are you in? Okay. And so like 100 people sent me direct messages and said, you're great. So I selected 10 of those. But I'm like, holy heck, when in the world am I going to find 10 people to build these funnels for? Like that, man, when is that ever going to happen? So somebody gave me the idea about starting an internship. They said, Chad, well, what if you take on 10 interns, teach them everything that you know about marketing and about funnels, and then give them the project of one of these nonprofits or single moms? I'm like, wow, what a great idea. So I did. So I went back to the ClickFunnels room and said, hey, gang, I'm looking for interns. Okay, here's what we're going to do. No money exchange, absolutely no money exchange, but we're going to build funnels for single moms and nonprofits. Are you in? Well, I was expecting 8, 9, 10 people to reply to me, and I got over 120 people. We interviewed all 120 people, and we broke it down to 85. Like, I couldn't say no to these 85 people. So I'm like, what in the world? So I said, I got an idea. I'm going to create the CF Design Academy. Now, what is the CF Design Academy? I didn't know. All I knew is I was going to create a design academy where people could come in for free, no strings attached. Okay, they could come in for free, and I could teach them everything that I knew about marketing and funnels, and then they were going to go help single moms and nonprofits. Okay, that's just what I was going to do. And so I did. And so they came in, and I decided that I was going to give them my best stuff. And that's incredibly important. I'll talk to you about the 7 steps in a minute, but I was going to give my best stuff, okay, which is give method point number 1. Give method point number 1 is you have to give the majority of your services and products away for free. You have to give the majority of your services and products away for free. That's step number one. And so I go into this design academy. I'm like, I'm going to do that. Step number one, I'm going to give all my stuff away for free. So I went in and I started teaching them everything that I knew and taught funnels and marketing. I'm like, I'm even going to give them the good stuff. I'm going to give them the stuff that caused me to be a top 30 designer. So I go in and I start teaching them. And so here's what happened. Remember, generosity or giving is what breaks the mindset of scarcity and ultimately provides supply. So I went in and just started teaching everything that I knew, okay? Wow, next thing I know, you go back to the ClickFunnels room, and people are saying, hey, who's the best, I need a good funnel design. Who's the best funnel builder out there? And holy smokes, now, all of a sudden, 85 people started chat. Hey, I'm looking for a really good coach. Chat. And I went from literally having 0 people inquire about my products and services to overnight getting 15, 18, 20, 22, 25 inquiries every single day about my funnel services and about my one-on-one coaching. And it leveraged me to go from broke to over $250,000 in just 90 days using the give method. Why? Because for so long, I was in scarcity. I was holding on to everything. And that's what we do when we're in scarcity. We hold on to stuff. We don't want anybody to know our secrets. We look at everybody as competitors. And we hold on to everything. We try to bash our competition. And I said, I'm going to stop that. So here's what I did. Not only did I give my stuff away, but I want some of you to do this right now. I also decided that because people were being incredibly generous with me by getting my name out there, I was going to return the favor, okay? And what I was going to do was I was going to become generous with everybody else. So my competitors that I used to like secretly trash, I started complimenting. I started bragging on them. I started talking about how great they were. And you know what happened? They started complimenting me and talking about how great I was. And next thing you know, I go from a nobody to a household name in our world through the power of generosity. So what you have to do is you have to be willing to give all your stuff away, okay? Give all your services, all your products, give it away for free. And now so many people are saying, okay, Chad, I know that, but how am I supposed to make a living if I give stuff away? Right? Now that's my Cletus voice. You'll learn that about me. I'm a little goofy. Listen, don't worry about it. Remember, all you're trying to do is build a pond. You're trying to build a pond of people. And what I know is when you give your stuff away for free and you leverage that and you become the expert and you begin teaching them and helping them and being generous with them, that biblical principle of give and it will be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, comes true. It did in my life, and it's done it in the life of everybody that I've taught this principle to. So stop trying to figure it all out and just err on the side of generosity, because generosity is what moves you from scarcity to abundance. So give all of your stuff away for free. Okay, second thing, I want you to look at opt-ins differently. Opt-ins now become optional. Opt-ins become optional. So one of the things that we did with our funnels was we shifted it. You know, like you got a lead magnet. So many of you guys give a lead magnet away, and that's what you think you're doing by being generous. But let's just be honest. Can we just be honest for a second? Okay, can we just put the authenticity on and put all the bull crap away? Let's just be honest. Most of us create lead magnets that help absolutely nobody. Why? Because we want to get a name and an email address. We want to nurture that name and email address. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to turn that into a sale. Let's just be honest, okay? So when we give, okay, we're given with a huge string attached, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to stop that, okay? I want you to give, not give to get. And the best way to do that is by making your opt-ins optional. So we started changing our funnels. So now what we do is we'll put the lead magnet and we put a place for a name, email address, and a submit button, okay? But with a disclaimer that says, hey, listen, okay, if you want this lead magnet without giving us your information, there's a direct download button below the submit button. Feel free to do it. However, if you opt in, here's what we promise to do. We promise you not to spam you. We promise to only send you incredible offers that we believe can change your business and change your life, and we agree to just send you free teaching. So those were the three things that we did. So opt-ins are optional. Okay, so they could get our stuff, no strings attached, literally. Here's what we found out. What we found out through not only what I was doing, but through all the people we were coaching, is our opt-ins went dramatically low. Okay, probably dropped a little bit more than half. But our conversions tripled. So our opt-ins went way down, but our conversions tripled. The reason why was because the people that were in our database actually wanted to be in our database, okay? And so because they wanted to be in our database, they were on the lookout for our stuff. How many of you, you go through your email inbox right now and you're like, I don't even know these people. Like, how did I get on their list, right? I do the same thing. I'm in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lists, and it doesn't matter. I try to get out of all of them, okay? But I don't even want to be in their list, except for 2 or 3 people. So what I found is by making opt-ins optional, then what would happen is that if people wanted to be in your list, they would be in your list, and then they were on the lookout for your stuff. So then when you sent them something, they were a lot more likely to purchase, thus tripling our conversions. It was awesome, incredible. Remember, you're trying to build a pond full of tons and tons of fish that look like you, know you, trust you, follow you, and then when you put that little bait in, bam, they buy it. Hook, line, and sinker. That's what you're trying to do. The art of giving and generosity does that, okay? So number one, what we want you to do with the give method is we want you to give the majority of your service and products away for free. Number two, we want you to realize that opt-ins are optional. Number three is we want you to provide massive value prior to asking for money. Provide a massive amount of value prior to asking for money. So what I started doing in my business was I started doing what's called the Monday Morning Mentor. So every single Monday, you can jump on my Facebook page, my professional page, my personal page, or if you're my Design Academy, however, you can just jump on there, and I'm going to give you probably somewhere between 30 minutes an hour to an hour of incredible teaching every single Monday. It is my best stuff, and it keeps me on my toes. I'm consistently researching. I'm consistently learning. Why? Because I know I got to show up on Monday, and I got to give you something that will blow your freaking mind. Okay? I've got to give you something that's going to help take your business to another level every Monday. So I started providing massive value. So I came up with what's called the drip, 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 drop method. Okay? The drip, 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 drop method, where I want you to drip at least 4 pieces of incredibly valuable content ever before you ask for money, ever before you drop an offer. Okay, I want you to give it. Now, what does this do? This builds what's called reciprocity, okay? The law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity is when you give something away, okay, you give something away, and it creates a psychological obligation for people to purchase from you. Let's take it out of the marketing world just for a second, and let me show you an example of this. So in Phoenix, this is where I live. It's incredibly hot here in the summer, so much so if you go to a lot of the restaurants, they literally have hot pads duct taped to the door. No joke, okay? Because you can't touch that door without getting 5th-degree burns, right? So they put hot pads. And so not only do they have hot pads on the door, then they have a breezeway, and then they have a second set of doors that you go through to get in the restaurant. So let's say that you and I are going to a restaurant, okay? Just pick one. And I'm about 4 or 5 steps ahead of you, and we're walking, and I get to that first set of doors with the hot pads on it, and I open that door, and I let you, and I invite you to go in before me. And then I'm going to go in right behind you. When you get to that next set of doors right in front of you, what are you going to do? Are you just going to open the door and walk in and let the door slam and hit me in the head? Absolutely not. See, because I gave to you, I opened the door, the law of reciprocity kicks in, and you feel psychologically obligated. You'd feel like a total jerk if you just opened the door and walked in, so you feel psychologically obligated to open it and to let me go first. See, that's the law of reciprocity. And this is what happens when you decide to provide massive value prior to asking for money. Let me tell you what this does. In addition to the law of reciprocity, also what this does is this establishes you as the teacher and them as the student. Okay? It establishes you as the teacher and them as the student. Now, why is that powerfully important? The reason is because we buy from experts. We don't buy from amateurs. We learn from experts. We don't learn from amateurs. So when you went to your very first college class, okay, whatever it was, Psych 101, way back in the day, you walk into that lecture hall with a couple hundred people, you're sitting in the seat, and about 5 minutes after you get there, some grumpy old man in all khakis with a really long beard, an old briefcase, tons of books underneath his arm, holding a cup of coffee, comes in and throws all of his stuff down and stands behind the podium and begins speaking. Here's what you don't do. You don't raise your hand and say, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Why are you qualified to teach me? You don't do that. You don't vet him. You just assume the role of student. He's got the platform, and he assumes the role of teacher. See, when you provide massive value prior to asking for money, you build a platform. Back in my church days, back when I was a pastor, okay, I'd walk in and I would teach the scriptures, right? Now, I had very large churches, okay? Do you think I was the expert on teaching scriptures in the congregation? No, there were dozens of people that knew the Bible way better than I did. But what did I have that they didn't have? I had a platform. And because I had a platform, when I went behind that podium and I began speaking, people listened. Not only did people listen, but people did what I told them to do. Why? Because I had a platform. I had established myself as the expert. Even though I wasn't the most expert, I established myself as an expert by building a platform. I do that by providing massive value prior to asking for money. I'm going to drip, 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 and then drop an offer. What's that do? It builds reciprocity between me and my audience. Second thing is it elevates me as a teacher in the relationship, and it demotes them as a student in a relationship. And here's what I know about that. Students are the ones who spend money. Teachers are the ones that get money. And I don't know what position you want to be in, but I wanted to be in the position of getting money. So what I had to stop doing was I had to stop begging. I had to stop putting out crappy offers, hoping that something would sell. I had to stop ripping people off and mimicking other people. And what I had to do is I had to get true to myself and say, Chad, what is in you? What do you have that you can leverage, that you can teach people, that makes you unique, that people ultimately would want to buy from you? What is it that you have? And so I started getting real with myself. And what I learned was by dripping content, it established me as the teacher, made me true to myself, and holy smokes, people by the masses, by the hundreds and thousands, now come and listen to me teach. Why? Because I've chosen to provide as much massive value as I can way before asking for an offer. Number four, payment plans are interest-free. Now, I'm going to give you a little phrase that I've coined, okay? And this is proprietary to me, so don't rip it off, okay? If you do, make sure you give me credit. But one of the things that I teach is when you go to give an offer to your pond, remember, we're not trying to sell to a cold audience. We're not even necessarily trying to sell to the same 12 people in our hot audience. We're trying to build a warm audience by creating a pond stocked full of people, okay? And what I want to do is I want to be able to give them an offer that is expensive enough that I can make a living on, but is affordable enough that they can take and use without killing themselves. So when you finally do make an offer, then what you have to do is you have to make it expensively affordable, okay? Expensively affordable. So as the expert, as the teacher, as the coach, whatever you are in their life, you have to premeditate and predetermine how they're going to purchase this. And this is a huge mistake so many of us make. So many of us make the mistake of just saying, oh, they're going to have to figure it out. No, they're not going to have to figure it out. Because you know why? If they figure it out, the way they're going to figure it out is not buying from you. So after you have provided a ton of value to them, okay, and you're finally now to the point where I've given all my stuff away. Now it's time for me to make an offer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it expensively affordable. I've thought through, okay, if my offer is $2,000, then here's what I'm going to do. And so what I do is I make my payment plans interest-free. Now, why is that important? The reason why that is important is people that can afford your stuff and just pay you a lump sum, they have money. People that need a payment plan don't have money. So why are we going to charge the people who don't have money more money than the people who do have money? It doesn't make any sense to me. Okay? It doesn't make any sense to me. You're not a bank. You don't have to charge interest. So make your payment plans interest-free. Yeah, Chad, but what if they go and rip me off? Okay, so they rip you off. So what? Did you die? Nope. You're still living. Okay? You created a digital product anyway. It's got a 95% profit margin on it. Okay? You're not spending money to get ads, so you're not so they rip you off. So what? That is so rare. I'm talking so rare. So people who gripe and complain on all the forums about being ripped off, I'll ask them, so how often does that happen? Oh, all the time, all the time. Okay, how many sales did you make last year? About 1,000. Oh, how many times did you get ripped off last year? 3 times. Oh, so you got ripped off 3 times, but 997 times you didn't get ripped off. Yeah, and you say it happens all the time. The reason is because we're so accustomed to focusing on the negative. Stop focusing on the negative. That's a losing mindset. We want a winning mindset. And generosity is what moves us from scarcity and provides supply. That's a winning mindset. So just go into it. You know what? Even if I get ripped off a time or two, who cares? If my stuff can help them, great. And you know what happens is what I find is that when you build a loving relationship with these people, the last thing they want to do is rip you off. The last thing they want to do is rip you off because they love you. They know you. They follow you. They're in your pond. You are their teacher. They are your student. They believe you have something to say that's going to change them and transform them. So the last thing that they want to do is rip you off. They don't want to rip you off. Which brings me to, I think, step number 5. Is if somebody truly cannot afford your stuff, help them anyway. If somebody truly cannot afford the product or service in which you're providing, I want you to help them anyway. Do you know how many people that I've helped for free? And I'm not talking about just my low-level stuff. I've actually given away a couple $25,000 high-ticket coaching programs to people who truly cannot afford it. I've actually given them away. The majority of the stuff that I give away, I've designed my academy in such a way where the masses can come in. I could just give them as much information away for free, and they can come in. That's the give method. So I've created a forum for that. So when people really can't afford me, I'm saying, you know what, get in my academy for free, okay? But Chad, I really need that online course. Okay, well, come up with something. Chad, I really don't have anything. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give this to you for free, and then after you make your first couple sales, I want you to save a little bit of money, and then I want you to pay. Okay, whatever. If somebody truly can't afford the product or service that you're offering, help them anyway. You say, but Chad, I'm in the business industry. I'm not a charity. Hold on. So you are in the business industry, okay? You are in the charity, okay? Because if you didn't truly believe in helping people, okay, then you're not going to be behind a camera. You're not going to be creating you're not going to be creating products or online courses if you don't truly believe that you can help somebody, okay? And so the definition of charity is simply helping somebody, okay, with something that you have an expertise in and they don't. Okay? So charity could be, if you're giving money, okay, to somebody, you have money and they don't. So charity is, I got something they need and I'm giving it to them. Well, you have information that they need that they don't have, so you're giving it to them. So you are in charity. Charity just simply means love. Okay? So Chad, I'm in the business industry. I'm not in charity. Well, then get out. Get out of the business industry. If you're in the business industry and you don't love people, get out. Because you're going to manipulate people. Honestly, you're going to become a douchebag, and nobody wants that. Love people. And just watch what happens. So if somebody truly can't afford your stuff, give it to them anyway. What side of the fence would you rather be on? Would you rather be the beggar on the street begging for money? Or would you rather be the guy who can afford to go get a little extra food and give it to them? Well, in my opinion, I want to be the guy giving the food, not the guy needing to get the food. And the way I do that is by the art of generosity. Okay, number 6. This is incredibly important, okay? I want you to look at your customer as a person, not as potential profits. So it's people over profits, okay? One of the big mistakes so many of us make is when we look at our statistics, okay? Well, we had a 28% conversion rate. We had 281 people opt in, and we had, 72 of them buy, and listen, they're not numbers. People are people, okay? Every person who downloads your lead magnet, every person who opts into your stuff, every person who asks for help. These are real people. These are real people who have real issues that you can help and you can solve. And when you change that dynamic, okay, and you look at it like, I'm not just trying to throw my stuff out to the masses so I can get a few numbers to convert. I'm trying to build a pond full of like-minded people who know me, love me, follow me, trust me, and ultimately will buy from me. I'm building that pond. I want to know every person in my pond. I want to know them all. I do. I want to know them all. So we have 1,600 people in our Design Academy. And do I know all 1,600 of them? No, but I know almost all of them. I've interacted somehow, some way with almost all of them. Chad, I don't have time to do that. Yes, you do. Because what you find out is when you look at people, not as profit, and you're going to have a smaller tribe. You're going to have a smaller pond that you can interact with. But listen, trust me, you're going to be able to extrapolate at least 4 to 10 times the amount of money from that small group than you could a large group. Why? Because they stop going to your competition. They stop going to others. Now, with the people in my tribe, okay, when they need funnels, who do they go to? They come to me. When they need ads, who do they go to? They come to me. When they need coaching, who do they go to? They come to me. When they need graphic design, who do they go to? They come to me. Literally, every need that they have in their business, the majority of the people who know me, like me, trust me, follow me, and are in my pond or in my academy, the first place they go is to me. Why? Because of the law of reciprocity. I have given them so much that they would not even think about going to someone else. This is what happens when you do people over profit. Do you see the mindset shift? See, the old mindset of scarcity says, I got to hoard, I got to protect, I got to cover, I got to guard, I got to protect this little thing that's mine. And it reminds me of my little daughter when she was like 2 years old. We would give her a doll, right? And she hated that stupid doll. I mean, literally hated it. She hated that doll until a friend would come over. And a friend would come over to that doll, and my little daughter would go over and grab that doll out of her hand and say, mine, this is mine. And I'm like, that's how so many entrepreneurs treat these people. Stop. Don't look at them as a number. Look at them as a person. And this is the beauty and the art of being small, is you can. And as you get to know them, they will help you grow large. But they grow, it's like that pond that just multiplies. And they come to you with a different mindset and a different mode. And the vetting goes off the table. Like very few times do people come and want me to give me my credentials and stuff. They say, oh my gosh, well, Johnny says this, and Heather says this, and Holly says this, and Mark says this. So if they say it and I trust them, I'm all in on you, right? And that's the majority of my clients, okay? And so that's why I want you to do that. And finally, part of the give method is I want you to over-deliver, okay? Over-deliver. So what I mean by that is when they think they've gotten everything that they can get from you, give them some more. Give them some more. I try to, I'm not perfect at this, but I try to bless the socks off the people in my tribe. I don't nickel and dime them. I give them way too much for free, and it just blesses the socks off them. I have funnels that I sell for $1,000. I've got a really cool membership funnel, and I've just given that away to so many people. I give free consultations away. I give coaching calls away. I've literally gotten on an airplane and flown to somebody's town before and sat down in their living room and helped them build their business for free just because. Okay? I've given away tickets to my mastermind. Last year I bought somebody a ticket to go to Funnel Hacker Live. I've given away plane tickets to go to Funnel Hacker Live. Okay? I've bought people's tickets to come to my masterminds. I give free photographs and free video services away all the time. I try to over deliver. I try to give them like something that they don't expect. And it just does something in their mind. It does something in my mind, actually. Let's forget them for a second. It's just done something in my mind. It's literally transformed my life. I'm not nearly as grumpy as I used to be since I started being generous. Like my kids have even noticed the difference in my life. I'm a lot more attractive character now that I've just embraced the life of generosity and giving. I'm a lot more fun guy to be around. I'm a lot more attractive. People want to be around me Because I'm generous. And this is what happens when you over-deliver. Everybody, okay, go back to that Charles Dickens classic, A Christmas Carol, okay? Nobody wanted to be around Scrooge when he was stingy. But at the end of the story, when he was generous, he attracted everybody to him. See, this is what will happen in your business. When you learn the art of generosity, people will want to be around you. And what will happen is you'll give, and that biblical principle will come true. And it'll be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So what is the give method? Number one, I want you to give the majority of your service and products away for free. Number two, I want you to remember that opt-ins are optional. Number three, provide massive value way before asking for money. So drip, 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 drop. Number four, your payment plans are interest-free. Number five, if someone truly needs your products or services and can't afford it, well, I want you to help them anyway. Number six, I want you to start looking at people as people, not as profits. People over profits every time. And number seven, over deliver. And when you do that, you're going to be amazed what happens in your business. So no more throwing money away on ads to an Arctic audience that nobody knows you. Okay. In fact, I always tell people, if you're going to spend money on ads, don't spend money on ads trying to sell something. Spend money on ads trying to get somebody in your tribe, and then love on them. Do the give method and watch what happens. Okay. No more just selling to the same 4 or 5 people in that little campfire we got going on, where the kindling, it'll light quickly, but it burns out quickly. Now what we're doing is we're building a pond stocked full of potential customers who know you, like you, trust you, follow you, ultimately will buy from you, but in the end, endorse you. And when you get that, you know that you've made it. I want to thank you so much for watching this teaching today. I hope it was a blessing to you. If you need anything, I want you to know that I'm just a direct message away. Find me on Facebook and friend request me. I don't have any spots left, but you can friend request me, or you can like me and follow me around. I want to invite you to be part of my Design Academy, absolutely free. This is where I teach you everything that I know about marketing and about sales funnels, and I teach it to you for free. The only thing that I ask is that in return, you use this to do good for others by helping us build sales and marketing funnels for single moms and nonprofits. And we're on the mission to raise $1 million for Operation Underground Railroad. So if you want to be part of that tribe, just do it. Just go to Facebook and just look up CF Design Academy. That's all you have to do. Ask to join, and within 48 hours, one of our moderators will have accepted you into the group. It'll probably be about 4 or 5 minutes, but we guarantee within 48 hours they'll accept you in our group, and you can be part of our tribe. I also think that if you're trying to build a business and you're trying to get off the ground quickly, I think my 7-day launch challenge is for you. Now, the 7-day launch challenge is an incredible challenge we put hundreds of people through. It's where we take your idea and turn it into a business in just 7 days. Now, we sell this program for $997, but just as a way of saying thank you for being a part of this summit, we want to give it to you for just $97. So you can go to the website. You can see the link on the screen, 7daylaunchchallenge.com. That's 7daylaunchchallenge.com, and you can get it not for $997, but you can have it today for $997. And I promise you, it's stocked full of enough information to get you your business up and running in just 7 days. Well, God bless you. Really love you and appreciate it. And don't forget, if you give, it'll be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over.